What is up? Today I want to go over some chart patterns that you need to know. I'm going to go over every single chart pattern. It would just be way too much information. And so what we're going to do is go over some of the easier, some of the more common and sort of easy to spot reliable trading patterns. Firstly, this bottom is a Wyckoff accumulation. Sounds complicated, but it's basically where you have a sort of bottom like this. Sometimes, this one will drop down a little bit below or whatever, but what happens is it forms a range like this, and essentially the bottom line is once it breaks out and consolidates above this range, it's off to the races. So it has multiple phases. I'm not going to go over the whole Wyckoff thing. You don't need to know it. But the inverse of this, basically the top version of this, looks the same. It just is a top, and this one is a bottom. So the top looks sort of like this, generally. Something like that, sort of like a rounded top with like a sort of mountain top looking thing. So those are distributions and accumulations. The next thing you need to know is Elliott waves. Now, Elliott waves, you're going to spot them everywhere. This, in fact, is about to set up for some Elliott waves. Where is my Elliott wave tool? Oh.
Did somebody speak?
And so I had to jump out of a voice chat there. Let's see. So find the right tool. Here we go. Elliott wave, impulse, and corrective. So let's just find one. Actually, I'm just going to draw this one out. We can probably see from previous. Yeah, this coin launched at a really bad time of the market. It basically launched when everything was peaking. And so these are actually Elliott waves on the way down, sort of. But it's easier. I prefer to demonstrate them this way. So they kind of look like this. Bam, 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 bam. Oops. Let's find another chart that has them. For some reason, my trading view makes me zoom all the way in on stuff like that, babe. Let's see. Good Lord, Dash is pumping. All right, here we go. Here's a good example on Dash. And see, we've got, well, kind of switch to a different time frame. Daily's good. Solana. These ones are very pronounced. Oh, that chart's messy. Just cleans all this crap up. So, this is a very good example. This is a bigger scale as well. So, we've got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And then we got this big long accumulation here. And this actually, these are fractal. So this actually becomes wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bam. Those are not like, I didn't really measure those targets. But something like that would be on the bigger scale. And if you zoom into like a smaller scale, you're going to see them as well. You see you've got the Elliott waves here, and this is a really good example here. Okay, so bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it does the retrace. A, B, C. It goes for another. It goes for another wave, but you know it could kind of just like consolidate here for a bit. It doesn't necessarily have to go straight into the next wave. As you can see, this this wave was very long sideways, and that means that this one here, this number 4, is going to be a sharp downward one whenever that comes. Like we're not there yet, because it's got to finish doing this set of waves basically. So it's going to do, yeah, that's probably one wave, so 2, 3, something like that. And so yeah, 3 is probably going to be up here somewhere. If I really wanted to plot these out, I would grab my fib extension and I would come from this bottom. I would basically draw this first wave, bam to bam, and then yeah, so maybe like the 1, and then this likes to come down to test this top here. Maybe not quite all the way, and sometimes a little bit less. So we'll call it right there. Even a little bit more bullish, but that, and then at least $500 Solana in the next little bit. And sometimes you get a really big wave on the 5, and that would put it more up to here, but this is relatively conservative targets. Anyways, so moving on from Elliott waves, definitely study those, learn to recognize them, play them, because if you can get in on these little dips in between the Elliott waves, you're sitting pretty. Like instead of trying to chase it up when everything's FOMO and you're jumping in when you know the wave is peaking and then it dips, like you're like, okay, well that sucked. Especially at these ones, you know, peak FOMO here, and then it's dipping right away. You know, we've all done that, right? But if you can get in on these dips, then you're sitting pretty. Okay, so a few candle patterns to look for. So big wicks on the bottom like this are generally bullish, and big wicks on the top are generally bearish. Not always, but a lot of times a top will have a big wick on it. That basically, if you haven't figured out candlestick basics, you know how to read these. It's just the body is where it opens and closes, and the wicks are where it touched during that time frame. Another candle to watch out for, and this is called a spinning top, right here, where the body is just a small little body, but it's got a big wick on each one. And then this indicates indecision in the market. So a lot of times these end up being reversals, though. As you can see here, this was followed by a red engulfing candle, so a bearish engulfing. That red candle right here, close, would be confirmation of a bearish move. So if I were playing this trade right here, when I saw this setup closing, I would wait for the next candle to close. And when I saw, okay, this is red, this is bearish, I would enter, and then bam. You could even wait. It looks like this probably ran all the way up to there and then dump. So, and then obviously the one at the bottom would be the same thing. Let's see. Okay, there's one right there. Bam. So these are not reversals every time, but they're pretty common and usually end up playing out. So just watch for the next candle. If it's engulfing, meaning the body is larger, you know, like that one's massively engulfing. So basically just engulfing pattern right here. This is a huge bullish move when the following candle body is bigger than the other one in a different direction. So could work the same. So right here for a green candle, that's actually a bearish engulfing candle, but it didn't actually stick. It kind of went for that other one. So it's not perfect, but definitely something to watch for at tops. When you're starting to peak, those can be pretty rough. Like here. This is definitely like a big bearish sign when this, okay, first of all, we've got a double top here. Bam. And then this red candle right here, bearish engulfing. And then we proceeded to dump really hard after that. So a few very basic candle and chart patterns that you can use to get a huge edge. There's tons and tons of these patterns. I could go on for hours about it, but I don't want to give you too much information and I don't want to make it too complicated. Start simple. The Wyckoff thing sounds really complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. But Elliott waves was the biggest game changer. Elliott waves and Wyckoff were the biggest things for me that really made me start having an edge. You just got to know how to execute them. This one, Dimension, this one had, like I said, a really rough launch. Basically pumped off the gate and then just dumped super hard for a long time. And then yeah, this accumulation here, and now it's finally on the move. In fact, I just put in a long position on this with leverage. So excited for that to start moving. Hopefully we'll see this back at all-time highs pretty soon. Pretty bullish on the project still. It is new tech. It's unlike anything else that we've really seen in crypto. I haven't really been following it, to be honest, since all of this like dumpage. I've just not been looking at it because it's been really kind of not performing that well. But I'm in the green on it now, so that's good. And yeah, it looks like it's about to see a lot more green. This so one other thing to watch for is like these types of a healthy chart move is you get a pump and then sort of a pullback, a pump and a pullback. And these are often like bull flags or bull pennants a lot of times. And those are very healthy. What you don't want to see is a chart that starts to go like this and it's acting like Elliott waves, but it doesn't really make the high and it starts to look like that. That is a top. That is a freaking short right there. Bam. And then you're going down. On a smaller time frame, it's not that big of a deal because that could easily reverse. But if it's on a bigger time frame, then I would get out of that trade. This would be an exit unless it's like a long-term bag or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for simple trading patterns to give you an edge. Let me know what you think about this video if you want to learn more and if there's any questions that you have. Peace. Thanks for watching.